So this is a low gold flex player who it looks like mostly flexes to DPS, but also plays some other roles as well. And silver border, so we can tell they've been playing the game a minute. And let's really see what we can help them with here. So do you, oh man, obviously you're not going to answer me, I don't know why. Do you happen to know how to like jump shot? Because I'm set off here because I have now seen their Mercy's beam coming from this direction. And their Reinhardt is right there. And this is a little bit higher level, okay? So don't feel bad if you don't know how to do this. Don't feel bad if you can't pull it off if you try and do it. But you know, it would be really cool if as soon as our grapple was off cooldown, if we could grapple directly above us. And what that does is it sends us flying in the air and allows us to get a really good look at everything that's going on. And what's really common is to jump shot up and then shoot that Mercy. So for example, there's an exact match of the statue that you're on, like right here, right next to you to your left. You can jump shot off of those because we know the Mercy's not behind the shield. And you can be really clean and a really good way to get that kill. Okay, nice. I really like this sightline that you're on right now because you can see so much of the point. I'm really glad that you took this one because when you go here, you just have views of literally all of this. And so it's really nice to kind of box them into that corner. And then especially, I haven't seen 100% of your comp yet, but if you're running like a double sniper, and your Hanzo can go here, then he gets this sightline. And so it's really, really nice what you guys do there. It boxes out anywhere that they can be that are on the point, that is on the point. You can get so many headshots, easy kills. And so I really like where you're standing now. So let's see if we can capitalize on it. Okay, nice kill. Nice, and then the Genji's coming for you, so you run away right away. And assuming you did this on purpose, I like that you didn't use your grappling hook, because you know you already saw that Genji used his dash, so he's not going to have some rapid way to get to you. And then if you need to use your grappling hook for some other threat or something, you still have it off cooldown. Now I don't like this, that you've been out of the fight so long. You came too far back, and it's causing you guys to kind of play too slow. Once I knew Genji was up there, I probably would have gone to like this statue or something. There's really clean sightlines onto that side of the point, and you can see up here where Genji is pretty completely. You got both your healers right behind you, so if Genji goes for you, it shouldn't be a big problem. So I'm not a big fan of how long you spent like running away. Okay, so this is something that same conversation that like a lot of teams have to have and stuff like that. So in theory, you are on a good sightline. I've already told you that. But we've now taken that same sightline 3 times, and it hasn't worked for us a single time. And so you need to go around and go to a different angle, kind of like that Hanzo angle we just talked about and that you're headed to now. Because even though maybe it's not quite as nice for like your team's purposes, because you can be line of sight back here and stuff like that, we've gone here, we've tried here. Even though that's good, it just clearly we are playing in a way, or our enemy team is playing in a way, or our team is playing in a way that we can't follow up properly when we're over there. So let's not go over there anymore. Okay. So you gotta watch your charge right here. And this is kind of a whole new issue, but it's good that we're kind of getting multiple issues in. Gotta watch the charge right here because most of our charge shots weren't doing full damage. To really be optimizing your shots, you need to be at least above the 60% mark when you fire. And so you shot 3 shots? Yeah, 3 shots. 4 actually. 4 it looks like. The exact number doesn't matter. I think 4 shots that were below the 60% mark. And so you were not doing the full damage of your shots. And so even like if you would have hit some of those shots, hit some of those crucial headshots, you wouldn't have gotten a kill. And then I know we're just gonna keep rolling here on this one little scene. But were you watching the kill feed here by chance? You lost 1, you lost 2, you lost 3, and then we pop our sights. So think about that. Sights isn't the most valuable ult, so it's not as atrocious as like some ults. But the fact that we popped our sights there when we were down 3, if not 4 even, because some people had died earlier and they weren't back yet, is really bad because we just essentially wasted our ult. I'm glad to see that you're at least switching, so maybe you had that in your mind, but it doesn't change the fact that it's something that we need to think about, and we did waste our ult.
All here, all here, all here.
Acknowledged. I copy. I require assistance.
Ball uses all, go.
Think about who you're playing right now. You're playing Pharah. Is Genji your responsibility to deal with on Pharah? Genji is not your responsibility to deal with on Pharah. And you keep turning around for the Genji, and that has kind of taken you out of the fight. And thankfully your Reaper had a really nice ult, and so you guys are going to win this for sure. But you were out of the fight so long because you kept hearing the Genji behind you. You're Pharah. Fly up. What's really nice is that you can play right around this blue gun over here, and it's got a really nice rotation it does that can give you good cover. You can land right here if you're getting like hard focused. There's really great areas to play right here for Pharah, and we're playing so far back.
Is everyone actually gonna leave the payload?
I copy.
Yeah, this is bad on us and our team's part. Our 2 DPS should pretty much never be the 2 pushing the payload. Like, think about like the overall roles of Overwatch. Like, one of Tank's main roles is to create space. Who are they creating space for if both of your DPS are on the payload?
Right.
Can you tell that there's a Mercy shooting you? Good choice, booping back the ulting Reaper. And so think about where we were that whole time there. And let me ask you, does where you're sitting right now give you any advantages that hugging this left side does not give you? Think about where your enemies are. And does it give you any advantages? It does not. And so let's hug the left side next time where there's actually some cover, some places we can land. We can fly over this side even to get better sight lines and still have some cover from like these barriers and stuff here. But let's not fly on this side. There's nothing for us over here that's beneficial that we can't get just as good or better over here.
The Hawks ulting.
will not fail again. Acknowledge.
So they just dropped their sound barrier. They don't have a diva. So if I were you, I would have my eyes pretty tight on the McCree. And if I see him die in the kill feed, if I can fire that last rocket to maybe force him even just to get heals or something, I would be looking for a perfect opportunity here to drop my sound barrier. And I am glad to see you hitting tab looking at your enemy's comp. It's definitely something that you need to do. Everyone needs to do. And it's such a great way to increase the amount of information that you have. Don't forget about the McCree here. Nice. Gotta make sure you focus the McCree first. And you did, but you almost looked away just too soon. So good job. But just be a little careful to make sure that we know where the McCree is and that we get him first in that case. But good job.
Can we body block?
Hello. This. 60 seconds. Double. You have my thanks.
Oh please! Oh please!
Again, kind of thinking about our targets on Pharah. Is the Mercy our target on Pharah? Or is maybe the tanks one of the more stationary targets?
Nice!
I get that the Mercy was out of position, and I understand how tempting it would be. And if she didn't ult, you may have been able to kill her, but more likely she would have just Guardian Angeled back to her team anyway.
Yeah, get payload, yeah.
Understood. Greetings. My ultimate is charged.
There you go. Farming the Rhine, and no one can do anything to stop you. Again, though, we did waste our ult. We were up 2 when we ulted. Even if we would have got 1-2 more, what is it really doing for you guys? Like, they're still just waiting for their Rhine to respawn. It would have been the exact same thing if you got 1, 2, all 4 of them.
God bless, by the way. Holy.
Your Pharah was definitely stronger than your Widow. Not just, like, mechanically even, just some making better choices. You know, you got some good value out of your ult, stuff like that. So right there, I would say I liked your Pharah
And the
better.
monkey? No,
And it's really frustrating to go against a good Pharah, especially when you already have like a McCree on your team and he's not killing the Pharah. It's a great way to like dishearten your team. Or like the enemy team, dishearten the enemy team.
Right down.
Like mother, like daughter.
Nice.
Right, man, you charge.
You know, one of the biggest advantages of Widow is moving around though. So we've gotten 2, 1, we've contributed to at least 2 kills in this spot here. Why don't we rotate to a different spot? Even like the same platform you're standing on, but the left side. Because if I was the enemy Pharah, and I have seen that you haven't moved at all, I would just go Widow and shoot you in the head real quick before you even saw me. Because you're not moving in the slightest.
Acknowledged. No one can hide.
Nice Reaper.
I want to mention the same thing about your ult. You had kind of already won that fight, but it kind of happened at the same time as Reaper, so I don't want to totally blame you. But he had the diva fully when you threw your ult. So just try and be a little bit more careful. A lot of supports have the same issue. Like they'll throw like their Transcendence and Sound Barrier at the same time, which wastes them. But it's hard to blame either of you when you couldn't see everything that was going on. Nice. Why? I would be staring pretty much at the body for the res. Yeah, there you go. I'm surprised you guys draw this. You guys were doing great right here.
Heroes never
Run,
die.
run. Please.
Okay, so think about where you're standing here, and I would start rotating.
You want me?
You've been on the ground for a long time. Your enemy team clearly knows where you are. Oh, that's unlucky.
Not Reaper. Eat them alive.
Damage increase.
There hasn't been much here because your Reaper and Bastion have
Understood.
been killing most of them before they were even a threat to you.
Acknowledged.
So that's why I haven't really had anything for you in a minute or two.
60 seconds remaining.
I'm levitating Bastion.
No one can
Have you ever
hide
seen one?
from my sight.
The Pharah. Alright, it's blank. Pharah.
Okay,
Find
so
them.
your team did call Pharah a few times, and so they're clearly having difficulties with Pharah. And you're one of the best people in this game to have a chance to kill the Pharah.
Okay.
And so I really don't like that you kind of just ignored that call and kept going for the shot that you were going for.
Heal the Reaper. Where? Heal. Okay.
I see. So they had a lot of alts. And I played you guys on those alts. Best way to fix that would have been you were
I
hitting
don't wanna
tab
back up.
earlier.
How about that?
Hit tab and think, hey, have I seen Barrage? Hey, have I seen Diva Bomb? And then call that to your team. Hey, we get Diva Bombed here. Hey, we get grabbed here. Hey, they have Sound Barrier for Reaper's ult.
Merci.
Alright, so I don't like the spot you took right here. There's actually a really great spot that Widow can take right here that you kind of usually jump in, get like a pick, and then jump out. Widow can actually grapple right here. And because of where the payload is and where the Pharah is, you would have such easy shots if you wanted to grab a support or grab the Pharah real quick. Even you can stay there long enough to deny the res because they don't have any sort of sniper to threaten you up there. And it's a really nice spot that can stop an entire push. But instead you took like this really safe spot. Your enemies are still way over there. Like you're not going to be able to hit the shots you need. So then you're going to have to move over here. But the real problem with that is that puts you in the exact same sight line as your Reaper and Bastion. And it's really good for a DPS to avoid having the same sight line. Like if you're all in the same spot, that makes it substantially easier for like Orion to block all of your damage. You're kind of just ignoring the diva? Okay. If you would have heard, her come up the stairs a second ago. So definitely got to listen for stuff like that. Otherwise you're going to continually get flanked.
Reaper. Got him.
Thank you. You should be at peak performance level.
You can also grapple on top of like this blue gun here. Like there's some really good spots here. But you're just kind of sitting back chilling right now.
Never die.
Did I rape him enough?
Understood.
You have a Bastion?
The power of destruction. Dein Teufel ist da. No one can hide from my sight.
Oh no! You got so many shields.
And now you're just kind of running around looking for a spot that this entire time you haven't had any value for your team yet. And then now you're like on the ground, which just isn't a preferable spot to be in. Really gotta work on that. This is the first time that you've really struggled with your positioning, but this is not solid positioning. And if you're gonna stay behind an enemy team on Widow, you don't shoot the diva, shoot the one of the supports or one of the people that you can one shot.
30 seconds remaining.
Bring the bomb. Go like this.
Gotcha.
That is a insane reticle. If you could have got the hook off right there on the Moira, your hook does actually cancel her ult. So that would have been a really nice way to maybe help save your team. But honestly, you guys were just kind of overextended because you guys got those late respawns. Okay, so now where are our team's tank right now? I believe. I don't know if you have a Ryan still. I don't believe you do. No, I don't believe you do. And so we should not be flanking away. First off, I don't know if Hog is necessarily the right choice. But if you want to play Hog right here, we should not be flanking away from our team. Our DPS needs space to work. They're the ones who can do that heavy damage. You have that one-shot potential, but they're the ones who can do that really heavy damage, and you were really far away from them, so they didn't have the space they needed.
Select your hero.
Can somebody shield me? Thank you.
Hello, my friends. Lots resources standing around. There's glory to be won.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Hello.
Above the point. They come, they die.
So this is super interesting because it's not a bad strategy, but then like who's gonna contest the point while you guys are like shooting at them? Like, are you gonna drop down? Is your Hog gonna come? You guys really need to talk about that so that you guys can know you know, the next step to your plan. And now you've just left your Bastion, so why'd you even play Ryan? Your Reaper doesn't need a shield. There you go, they hooked your Bastion. I don't understand how your Bastion lived that, and he should not have lived that. And it was really you that almost killed him. So gotta think about that for sure.
Nice.
This comp that you guys are running pretty much depends on your Bastion, and he almost just got like suicided.
They got denied, bro. Big slam.
Score 3-3. Switching sides. Prepare to attack. Select your
Go.
Weird task goats than Instalock Tracer.
I will prove my shot.
What
Hey.
are you waiting for?
Understood.
Let's up the tempo.
attack commences in 30 seconds.
I am ready to roll. Fala tu. E aí? E aí? Boom!
And I know you said that you never play Lucio, so I'll probably not give you very much feedback here. It wouldn't make too much sense.
Fine.
1. Attack commencing.
Go.
Capture objective A.
Not after we've worked on so much, and that was the same reason I didn't talk about much with Ryan, other than the fact that you just left your Bastion, because that relates to the positioning error that you've had the whole time. Like, I'm not going to talk right now a full lecture about when to use speed, when to use heals. I have other VODs where I've gone over that, and this isn't a hero that you play, so it's not really a hero that I feel would be beneficial to you to review, and it would really just be a waste of almost everyone's time. So definitely take a look at that in there. There was some stuff for you. There was some really good stuff that you did, and there was some really bad stuff that you did. My top things for you would definitely be when you have to flex to tank, make sure that you're making space for your team, not going on these flank routes that you would take if you were a DPS. When you are a DPS, make sure you're not wasting your ult, and make sure you're not banging your head against the wall by making it harder for yourself, by taking bad positions, or by taking the same good position over and over again, or by sitting in the same good position for too long, because you guys make it, you just make it so much harder for yourself when, you know, if the enemy team swaps Widow, they're going to know exactly where you are, or when you hook to a really safe spot so then you can't hit the shots you need. So definitely focusing on those couple things, and I'm confident you'll start doing better because you did some great things too.